Tonight's Rosh Chodesh Shvat. So just Akdama Ktsara around Yud Shvat time, Tafshin Nun Beis, everybody learned it. Learned this in the Siches, the Muga, the not Muga, alle learned das noch. But what I'm just going to give over is not what things that you don't know in this Akdama, but just things that how we felt it then at the time. There was probably a few main nekudas around the time of Yud Shvat. Probably one of the first nekudas was the Fabrengen of Shabbos Va'era. The Fabrengen of Shabbos Va'era. So the Rebbe speaks about the three tkufas. The first tkufa of Va'era el ha'avos, the achana for Matan Torah, the avos. That's Va'era, the zgalus, the Va'era, the gilui that was there to the avos from before Matan Torah as achana for Matan Torah. The second tkufa is the inyan of Matan Torah, which the avos started the achana for Matan Torah. And there's the inyan of Matan Torah Alein. And then there's the inyan of Yemesa Moshiach. And the Rebbe is mekashered also with the three parshiyas, Va'era, Boyin, Bishalach. And another nekuda ikri is that the Rebbe says there, a medidike vart, is that just like by a chasene, there's three generations that come, so also by matan, by la'asid lavai, when it comes the inyan of the gili of Mashiach, there'll be also the koiches of the avos, the three generations are going to be there with us as well. That means the koyach that we got from beforehand. But then Shabbos Parshas Va'era, the Rebbe said a vart. It's printed also in the Muga a little bit differently than the Lashon, the Fabrengen. Der Yediyah, the realization, as the Effen sagt der Tier, that the door is going to open up. Und es kommt rein, Nesi Dereinu, in sein Beis HaKnesses und sein Beis HaMedrash. Und gibt sich a Guck auf seine Talmidim und seine Chsidim, was tut sich bei sie mit der Aveda von der Shalma Farms Vaseinu, gibt es noch mehr Koyach in der Aveda. It is the inyan which was being spoken, the nekuda of the avos, that the avos give the koyach. The avos from before Matan Torah are the ones that give the koyach for the aveda of Matan Torah and the koyach for the aveda of the ikar Matan Torah, the tachlis of Matan Torah, which is Yemesa Mashiach. What gives the koyach? The Rebbe says the yediyah. As the effen sagt der Tier, es kommt rein Nesi Dereinu. That gives the koyach for a Jew for his aved of Meshach's man of Galus Meshach, this man of the Cheshach. That's one nekuda, which that was a big, when it comes to holiness for Yud Shvat and the holiness for the whole inyan of Yud Shvat, this word is a word ikri. The Rebbe started the inyan, the bittel, niskashrus, Nesi Dereinu, as jeder einer is kol mitziusoi, bakol mikol kol kedesh to the nasi ader. That was Va'era. Then came the Kviz, was like this year, Wednesday Gimel Shvat. Wednesday Gimel Shvat, the Rebbe said a sicha before Ma'ariv. And the nekuda of the sicha was that now it starts the Shavua Achrin of Hachanis for Yud Shvat. It's the last week of Hachanis for Yud Shvat. And now's the beginning of that. This was the first day, so the Rebbe said it that it should be still on the first day on Gimel Shvat. And the Rebbe said that since Kol Haschales Kashes, it's the beginning of the Shavua of Achana for Yud Shvat. So the way to break through the inyan of Haschales Kashes is through the inyan of Simcha. And the Rebbe was mamshich that's the inyan of Simcha, as if it was gesehen by Nesi Dereinu. That we saw by Nesi Dereinu the inyan of Simcha, even though there was a lot of inyanim that he suffered, and there was a lot of inyanim of questions that didn't have answers. Biz to them that his doctor, which was Bedargas professor, which is a Mailo Gedela and a doctor, and his doctor asked him that vi kumtis, that since your avoida is to be meifitz chassidus b'dibur, so what should really happen is your dibur should be even more and greater than everybody else, than a regular person. Shalei berech, more than a regular person. And bepeil zet min fakert. And the Rebbe says it's a question that doesn't have an answer. Because Moshe Rabbeinu also asked that question. That kvad peu kvad loshen onechi, and the Eibishter told him, Aaron achicha yeneviyecha, which means he was right. And that's why the Eibishter told him, Aaron achicha yeneviyecha. But bepeil, the Rebbe says, but in Nesi Dereinu, there isn't the inyan of Aaron, despite the fact that as able gedar zayin, and the Rebbe even puts in there as agam as nishayich zu sagen as a Wort, wie se wollt gedar sein, wenn man redt wegen der Anhage von der Eibishter Beilamei. In other words, you can't even say such a thing, how it should have been, because you're talking about how the Eibishter does things in the world, but Al Kol Panim, it's a question, and the question doesn't have an answer. And this was Gimel Shvat. Wednesday, Gimel Shvat, this was the Sikha that Rebbe spoke. For us at the time, hearing that Sikha it's a Gechabtat Sitter. Nobody even, people saw it, because at that time, Bechlal, the Rebbe's health was very, the Rebbe was suffering a lot from the foot. It was a matziv of thing. So it was gleich mikasher given that it had to do with that Erev Yud Shvat when the Rebbe came in. The Rebbe was mamish Yud Shvat when the Rebbe walked in. The Rebbe was walking very slowly, and it was like an Ungezeigenkeit in the whole Indian. This was Gimel Shvat. Interesting just to mention is that Chav Beis Shvat, which is a few not so long later, the Rebbe stood the whole day by the oil. The Rebbe stood and the three tefillas. The Rebbe stood and gave out kuntresim for hours. The kuntres for Chav Beis Shvat was the pink kuntres with lekach and a $5 bill. The Rebbe stood for hours giving out the kuntres. And I'm going to tell you something, not that I read about or that I saw it on a video or that I heard about it. After hours of standing there in a matzah, which begashmias, the doctor, remember Dr. Rosen didn't want to go by. He said, "B'shumef," and I'm not going by to get this kuntres from the Rebbe. He says, "We can," and he knows what's going on, and he sent people to see this. Bepeil mamish, when the Rebbe walked out, the Rebbe walked so fast that the gartel, the Rebbe wore vaistois, another gartel under, it was the gartel on top of the kapata, and it was the gartel under the kapata. I don't know why, but there was a gartel, I don't know if it was a gartel under the shirt, doesn't give in, but the gartel fell off. The Rebbe was walking so fast that the gartel fell to the floor. And the Rebbe bent down to pick it up, but that's how bigashmias. It was like a snua of after standing for hours. Al Kol Panim, that was Gimel Shvat, and then Shabbos Parshas Boy, the Rebbe spoke about Boy al Pari Bepoil in the Muga di Kesicha. It's Muga together, the Gimel Shvat and the Shabbos Parshas Boy. And in Shabbos Parshas Boy, there was a Meridik Oisius that the Rebbe spoke about Boyel Paray, the Ayeli Kuchubrichu, Idrin Basar, Idrin Legabe Hanoch Tanina Takifa Ilah. And the Rebbe asked the question, he says, Moshe Avadachel Mine, Moshe was afraid to go to Paris. The Rebbe says, Begashmias kann man verstehen why Moshe was afraid of Paris, because Paris is Lahanoch, the Aiden delay to go out, that Moshe said, okay. But when it comes to going to Parai inside, the way he's in Armin Amalucha, Moshe Avadachil Mine. But the Rebbe says, Beruchni is Parai, the Gdusha is in of his Periu, his Galin Mine Kol Nahirin. Why was Moshe afraid of that? And the Eibishter had to take him by the hand, Boyel Parai. And the Rebbe explains very strong oisias, which Mistam everyone learned it. And the Rebbe explains very strong oisias. That the Indian of Boyel Parai is Periu Vizgalim Kol Neiden means that it's an Indian of higher than Mididis Vagbalis. In Kedusha itself is the Indian of the Gili of Atzmus. The Gili of Atzmus higher than Kalim when it doesn't Bichlal, it's not Shaykh, it doesn't come down in a way of Kalim. It doesn't come down in a Mugbaldik way, it's a way which is L'maylam and Medidis Vagbalis. And it's impossible for a Neshama Beguf because this is higher than Kalim. The Neshama comes inside a Kali. And since it says Lo Yirani Adam V'chai, it's not shaykh for a neshama beguf to come and remain a neshama beguf to come to such a high darga. And that's why when Pari said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Lo Yisaisif Oid Ra'ois Panai Ki B'yayim Ra'oischa Panai Tamos, so Moshe Rabbeinu said to him, Kein Dibarta, Yofe Dibarta, Uvizmanai Dibarta. He says, you're right, that it's takem mitzad teva advarim, it's impossible to see panai, the pnimius of his piriu vizgalim in kol nahirin, and that it should remain the neshama inside a guf, because it's not possible, it's not shaykh such a metzias. But because there had to be then the gula, which the whole meaning of the gula is to bring it down into the gashmias of the world, so Memela the Eibishter made a davar nifla, that he said, Boyel Paray, I'm going to take you that you should be able to continue to be neshama beguf gashmi and still be able to go to this highest level of his periu vizgali mini kol neid. And that was the nekuda the Rebbe explains. And then the Rebbe says very powerful words. The Rebbe says that this is the Indian of what happened Yud Shvat. Yud Shvat Tafshin Yud. By the Nasi there became Boyel Paray. What does it mean, Boyel Paray? Boyel Paray means that the Eibishter took him to the place where he goes and he connects to Atzmus Umos, and Memela the Neshama can't stay in a guf. But that was only, the Rebbe said, B'negeya, the Deira Shmini from the Baal Shem Tov. And it's a very interesting thing. We all know, especially B'kesher to Yud Shvat, we speak always about Deira Shvi, not about Deira Shmini. Because we talk from the Alter Rebbe on. The Rebbe says that was only in Deira Shmini from the Baal Shem Tov, because at that time the Gula Amitis Vashlema didn't come B'Peil Mamish. So it was the Istalkos of the Neshama Min HaGuf. But in Deira Chi from the Baal Shem Tov, the Rebbe says over there it's not Shaykh Dinin of Istalkos, because the Neshama comes down into a guf the way it is Begashmias, and the way it is Lemaila from Kvad Peh, Kvad Loshin, Kvad Peh, and Teresh B'Ksav, and Kvad Loshin, and Teresh B'Al Peh. And it comes in a Shleimus Al Derech, like it was by Matan Torah, that Moshe Rabbeinu, which the Dibur was in Golus, that the Dibur became by Matan Torah, that he was also Nisrape, all the Inyanim came then, and Al Derech when it comes, because in the Deira Chi from the Baal Shem Tov, there has to be the coming of Moshiach, it has to come the Gilui of the Gula Begashmias into the world, and therefore there's no Istalkos of the Neshama Min HaGuf. That was the Nikoda. Now the question is a very interesting thing. Was redt mir wegen der Chief from the Baal Shem Tov. Talk about the Deira Shvi. So it's Deira Chi. It's interesting. When did the Rebbe say the Sikha Al-Gam? The Sikha was more on Vav Shvat. But the Sikha is printed together with the Sikha of Gimel Shvat. Gimel Shvat is how long is what? 30 months exactly before Gimel Tammuz Tafshin Nun Dalet. It was a Mikra Nikres. So 30 months, 30 is Tachlis Ashlemus, 30 months beforehand that the Rebbe said a Sikha Gimel Shvat of Bavarin Nalin Yonim. Was aber teich, just to try and understand these Nekudas, because as I me gebet nam, es soll proven, Masber sein a bissl, I'm not saying as ich can geben teichen, und ich gebe ich kein Pshetlach. But I just understand the Nekuda, and Al Derech said there's a Maimer, a famous Maimer, a Medrash, which the Rebbe brings Kamapamim, that the Goyal Rishon was Nigle, V'nichse, V'chayzer, V'nigle. And Al Derech Zed says the Goyal Achrin is going to be Nigle, V'nichse, V'chayzer, V'nigle. Now the Rebbe says in the Sikha that the Nigle, V'nichse of Moshe Rabbeinu, the Goyal Rishon, wasn't just once. Every Makkah, the Rebbe says he was Nigle, V'nichse, V'chayzer, V'nigle. It was Nigle when he came to warn Pare about the Makkah, Nichse when he went out of Mitzrayim, Kitzeisi Esoir, and Chayzer v'Nigla when he came back. Each one of the Makkahs was Nigla v'Nichse v'Chayzer v'Nigla. But was it taich in their Indian? So I'll call upon him just to understand a little bit. We know this year, Basi Legani, we speak about the innovating safe, l'mayla mayla adin kates, l'mata mata adin tachlis. But in the Maimer, it's interesting, the Lashon of the Tikkun Zeyar is, it ain't safe is l'may, the Lashon of is, it ain't safe is l'mayla mayla adin kates, l'mata mata adin tachlis. In the Maimer, it explains first mata mata adin tachlis, and afterwards it explains the mayla mayla adin kates. Another interesting thing is in the beginning in Tafshin Chavav, when the Rebbe starts explaining the meaning of Maila Maila Adin Kates Mata Mata Adin Tachlis, the Rebbe says this is Ois Tes Zayin, which is Betzim, it's a new mimer, it's the last mimer of the Hemshech Basi Legani, which Derech Agav, the Rebbe says in a Sikha that it says in the Rambam in Halacha, Gimel mitzvos nitztavu Yisrael, Kedem knisas and la'aretz. What's the Gimel mitzvos? Lamanis la'melech, livneis hachrezare shalam malek, and livneis beis abchira. Rashi in Gemara says that it's bediuk. It has to be dafke in this seder. And there are really three parts of one mitzvah. It's three mitzvahs, but these three mitzvahs are bedafke in the seder in this Inyan, but they're all three parts of one Inyan. That kedem knisas and la'aretz, there has to be three shlavim, three inyanim. Lemanis la'melech, which Chassidus explains lemanis la'melech means to bring the malchus of the Eibishter into the world through the fact that we have a melech. Lahachri zari shalam malik, and it's an interesting seder. Gedenken der Inyan. First is lemanis lamelech. That's the first thing. Only after that is it shaykh the Inyan of lahachri zari shalam malik. Now lahachri zari shalam malik is in order to take away the inyanim which are stating the idea of Gilui Elokus in the world. Now, l'cheira what gedarf sein verkehrt, no? First, la'achri zari shalam malek, and then nach l'madis le'melech. They say that, and it's b'diuk, they say that first it's l'madis le'melech, then it's la'achri zari shalam malek, and then there's livnis beis abchira. Why is first l'madis le'melech? Bald Zender Indian, but the Rebbe explains that the three datas of the last 3 datas of before this Galus of Moshiach have these 3 inyanim. The Rebbe Marash, the last mimer was Keser Yitnu Lecha. The first mimer of the Rebbe Rashab was Keser Yitnu Lecha. The Rebbe Marash brought in his life until he reached the Inyan. Now it's ready for the next generation that there should be Keser Yitnu Lecha. That's Laman Islam Melech, and that was the Rebbe Rashab. Throughout his life, it was the Inyan of Keser Yitnu Lecha, of being Megalech Sidis, of Temchit Mimim, of all the Inyanim of Keser Yitnu Lecha, of bringing the Malchus of the Eibishter into the world. Once it came after, at the end, when there was the Shleimus of Keser Yitnu Lecha, then he was ready for the next level, and that's why the last mimer was Reishis Goyim HaMalik. Reishis Goyim HaMalik now gave the koyach for the next generation, because now we have the Shleimus of Keser Yitnu Lecha, and again it's B'diuk. Al Pi Nigla also it's B'diuk, that there first has to be Keser Yitnu Lecha B'Shleimus, and the Keser Yitnu Lecha B'Shleimus L'manis L'melech B'Shleimus brings the koyach for Reishis Goyim HaMalik for the Lachras Azari Shel HaMalik. There came then the Frierdiker Rebbe started with the Maimer Reishis Goyim HaMalik, and B'chlal throughout his life you had the Inyan, and like the Rebbe explains, the 3 tkufas. First there was the tkufa in Medina Ahi, which is getting rid of the Amalek of the communists, and then there's the Amalek Sai the Kaltkeit in Yiddishkeit, which comes mitzad the header of the Gilui of Chabad, and Sai Begashmias with the Goyim and the Germans that was at that time. And then from there, the third kuf, which is the Amalek and the Kaltkeit of America. After the Shleimus, once it came to the Shleimus of Lachri Zari Shal Amalek, then there came the Inyan of Basi Legani Achesi Kala. Basi Legani Achesi Kala is living this base of Chira to bring the Gili of Elokus, to bring the Gili Shechina down here. And that's the Deira Shvi, the Inyan of Basi Legani Achesi Kala. But what's the concept of it? Why does there have to be first Lemanis Lamelech and then La'achri Zari Shalom Malik? The koyach, to be able to get rid of Zari Shalom Malik, first you need the Gili Elokus. There can't be first La'achri Zari Shalom Malik. There needs to be the Malchus of the Eibishter in the world. Then you could have La'achri Zari Shalom Malik. Once there's La'achri Zari Shalom Malik, then there's able to be living in this space of Bechira. And you have this Inyan in these 2 things of Eirin Seif L'mayla Mayla Adin Kates L'mayt L'mata Mata Adin Tachlis. Eirin Seif L'mata Mata Adin Tachlis means the Gilui of Elokus in the world in a way that it's Meir until Mata Mata. And then the Rebbe says in Neiste Zayin, which is the last mimer, the mimer of Beis Nissan. The mimer of Beis Nissan, which is notes Tchilasan B'Seifa. Now there's the Inyan of being able to have the Gili of Keser, which that's how there could be the Shleimus of the Inyan of Basi Legani. What happens then? What do we start with? Not Oirin Seif L'mayla Mayla Adin Kates L'mata Mata Adin Tachlis, the way it was explained in the earlier ICS. What was explained earlier? Oirin Seif is L'mata Mata Adin Tachlis. Mayla means the Ispashtus of Oirin Seif. That it's Nispashit and it reaches these places. Now, Zakt Men Achidish, as Eirin Seif Alein has the 2 inyanim of Mayla Mayla Adin Kates and Mata Mata Adin Tachlis. But then the Rebbe says like this: the Inyan of Mata Mata Adin Tachlis is move on Mimashim Nisboir Ba'isias HaKoidmes. Even though it's a different Inyan, but das can me verstehen that what? That the Inyan of Mata Mata Adin Tachlis is verstandig, it's understood that what is it? That it goes just like the Spashtus of Eirin Seif was to be Mechai even the Rishoim, to come even into the lowest places. Al derech zeh, when you talk about Eirin Seif itself, it's also that it comes in every place. It comes even to the Mata Mata. It comes the Gili of Eirin Seif even till the Mata Mata. But L'mayla Adin Kates, that's not moving from what was explained in the Eisis HaKedmim. Why? That was also explained. But the Inyan that was explained in the Eisis HaKedmim is the idea of Tzimtzum. You can't say that with Nigya Ein Sof itself. These pashtos of Ein Sof, you say is behelem machar helem. And that's the union of Tzimtzum. But what about Ein Sof itself? Das darf mir jetzt masber sein a new union. That this is the stima, the stimal kol stimen, the union of antuchad v'lav v'chushban, and the union of ilal kol ilal and stimal kol stimen. Because that has to be something new. Because when you talk about these pashtus, you say it's l'mayla, in case there's a tzimtzum. But when you talk about Ein Sof itself, you can't understand it from there. What does that mean, bepeil mamish? You have the union first of Ein Sof, the way it's meir till the mata adin tachlis. That's the gilu of Ein Sof. What is that? That's leman Islam melech. That's the gilu of Ein Sof into the world. Now, once you have the gilu of Ein Sof in the world, then you could be machriz zari shel Amalek. After your machriz zari shel Amalek, then you can have the union of living his base of chira, because now you can bring a lakus into the world. Now, when you talk about that union of Gili lakus in the world, that means that's the Eitzar Eli and the Gili of Moshiach. But the Gili of Moshiach has to be just like there's Geula, there's also the Goyel. Not only also, it's interesting, you look in Halacha, Pashit in Halacha, and it's a davar pele b'yeser. It's a davar pele b'yeser, but a lot of times people aren't even some lave to that. What does the Rambam write in Halacha and Hilchas Mashiach? What does the Rambam write? Kol mi she'einei maimin boy, or mi she'einei l'mechakel b'yaseh. The Rambam doesn't say someone who doesn't believe in the coming of Mashiach is kafir and teira Moshe Rabbeinu. The Rambam doesn't say someone who doesn't know wait for the coming of Yemesa Mashiach is kafir and teira Moshe Rabbeinu. He says, Mi she'einei maimin boy in Melech HaMashiach, and einei mechake, not for Yemesa Mashiach, lebi osoi, for the coming of Melech HaMashiach. Why? Because that's the Nekuda Atzmis. The Nekuda Atzmis of Geula is, yes, Mashiach is going to bring a time called Yemesa Mashiach. But that's not the Etzem. The Etzem is Mashiach himself. Boy, the person, Melech HaMashiach. The Etzem is the Bi'asai of Melech HaMashiach. What's he going to bring when he comes? There's going to be a time of Yemesa Mashiach, but it's not Yemesa Mashiach, even though with all the milas of Malad, it's there, Savaya, Kamayim, Liam Mechasim, and all the Inyanim, but the Nekuda Ikris is Boy, is Melech HaMashiach. Why? That's the way it works with everything, with the Teira B'chlal. We say, what's the first thing? Tinoik mishi yedea ledaber aviv melamdei what? Not Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. That's after. L'cheira should be Shema Yisrael. The erste Wörter, the first things a child should learn should be Shema Yisrael. The first words a Jewish child learns, mishi yedea ledaber, is Teira Tziva Lanu Moshe. That there's a Moshe Rabbeinu, and the Moshe Rabbeinu taught us a Teira. Then, once you have a Moshe Rabbeinu, you have a boy, you have the Moshe Rabbeinu, you have the Goyel, then you can have also Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. But the first thing a Jewish child learns is Teira Tziva Lanu Moshe. That's the first word, and it's al derech when it comes to Geula. When it comes to the eating of Geula, it's not about this beautiful time called Yemesa. With all the miles of Meret, we're not talking about the candy growing on the trees. We're talking about Malad is there Savaya. Malad is there Savaya Kamayim Liam Mechasim. That's not what the Rambam writes, that he's Kafir and Teira Moshe Rabbeinu. That there's a boy, that there's a Mashiach, there's a Goyel, and that he comes. Why? Because that's what Gilui Lakus in the world has to come Dafkes from Moshe Rabbeinu. Gilui Lakus in the world has to come through a Goyel from Melech HaMashiach. Now, since Melech HaMashiach is once Megala Lakus in the world, so just like you have the Gilui, not just like, the whole Nekud of the Gilui is that Ein Sof is Lamata Mata Adin Tachlis, and it's Lamayla Mayla Adin Kates. The Goyel himself, The Melech HaMashiach himself has in it, because that's what he's bringing, the Mata Mata Adin Tachlis and the Maila Maila Adin Kates. What's the inyan of the Mata Mata Adin Tachlis, the Maila Maila Adin Kates? First, there's the Gili of Mata Mata Adin Tachlis, that's Nigla. He comes and he brings and he reveals it. Then there's Nichse. Nichse is not, it's not a vort, a nice thing that they're telling us. You just know that's part of the nekuda of what it is. Moshiach has to bring Gilu of Elokus into the world in an efen of Mata Mata Adin Tachlis and an efen of Maila Maila Adin Kates. The Mata Mata Adin Tachlis is Nigla. The Maila Maila Adin Kates is Nichsa. And that's what the Rebbe says in the Sikh and Parshas Boy. That what happens, Boy El Paroi, he comes to Paroi, to the place of Atzmus Umus, to the place which is Stimal Kol Stimen, to the highest possible place where B'derech HaTeva, it's impossible the Neshama should be in the Guf. Because it's Stimal Kol Stimen. It's not Shaykh B'chlal to Agashmi, it's not Shaykh to any Cheshbeinis. It's Chad V'lav V'chushban. It's the Gilu of Paroi, of his Periu, of his Galim in Ekol Nein. It's not possible to be Neshama B'guf. And here the Rebbe says, Achidush Atzum, when it comes the day of Mashiach, that is the Nekud. It's not, oh, the Rebbe said a bracha. If the Rebbe really meant what he said or didn't, Rahman al-Islam, whatever it is. But I'm saying, what, is this the thing or it's a thing? And this is part of the etzem of what Gili of Mashiach means. Gili of Mashiach means that there comes a Metzias which Al Piteva should be Neshama L'mayla Min HaGuf, and Gili of Mashiach means the Neshama is in the Guf. And then we talk about the Deira Chi from the Baal Shem Tov, because the koyach of that Deira Shvi is all the inyanim of Pnimius. It comes in the Pnimius. The koyach for an etzem, the thing like this, comes from the Baal Shem Tov. It comes from Ataganarich. When we're talking about Yud Shvat being Mamshech the Shechina Lamata, we talk about 7 generations from the Alter Rebbe. But when we talk about an union of Gili Atzmus, of Antu Ilal Kol Iloin, so we're starting from Baal Shem Tov. And it comes Deira Chi from the Baal Shem Tov, and the Rebbe says the Chiddush of Deira Chi from Baal Shem Tov is not a vort, but it's a vort, and here we found a vort. This is what it's all about. This is what it means. So it's a nice vort. This is the way it works. If we believe Maimin Boy and we believe in Mechakal Biyasai, that means it comes in a oifen that even though in previous generations, even though Yud Shvat Tavshin Yud, it was in a way that it went Neshama L'mayla Min HaGuf. And the ones who were down here were those who are Deira Shvi, the next generation that's down here. But when it comes now in Deira Chi, where it's bringing it into this Galus of Mashiach, it has to be behechrich that the same place which usually would be Neshama L'mayla Min HaGuf is now a Neshama inside a Guf Gashmi Kipshutai. You want to say what's Taich? It's a good question. That's this thing. What does it mean? It doesn't matter what it means. But then if it doesn't matter what it means, so why do I even have to talk about it? Because that's what it's all about. That is exactly what Gili of Mashiach means. That you have a Maimed Matzev where Al Pi Teva the Neshama is L'mayla Min HaGuf. But because it's Deira Chi from the Baal Shem Tov, because you found a vort in a Sikha. Now this is what it's all about. That is the Deira Chi of the Baal Shem Tov, so therefore it comes in a matzav of Parei, Spiriu, Vizbalim, Yinikol, Nehirin, that it's Eidin, Seif, L'mayla, Mayla, Adin Kates. It's like I'm going to say, ich hab gefunden a vort that it says Eidin, Seif, is L'mayla, Mayla, Adin Kates. Okay, whatever, why are you even talking about it? Because that's the way it works. That's the way the Gili of Elokus comes into the world. In a efen of Lamata Mata Adin Tachs Mail Mail Adin Kates. If you don't have that, you got nothing. This is what it means, that it's Lamaila Maila Adin Kates, it's an Inin Asasum, it's a hidden thing. It's something where there's the Gilia of Atzmus, but it comes down Dafke in a efen begashmius in the world when the neshama is inside a guf. A shaila, kasha, what it means, whatever, that you can ask all the big yedei davar, was verstehen alle inyanim. But the pale mamish is, this is what it means, is galus of Moshiach. This is what it means, our generation. This is what Judaism means. It's not like something which is a nice concept. This is the whole kala teira kula. Teira tziva lanu meishe, maimin boy and mechakele biyase means that there's lemanis lemelech, lahachrizari shalom malik, and to bring it down in an eifin of minin beis abchira where it comes neshama beguf, and where even though begashmis it doesn't make sense because it's simal kol stimin and it's antu chad v'lav chashban, but the reality is without the chushban and without the cheshbenis, there is this gilui where it comes, where it's here begashmis, or we have it begashmis, the neshama is inside a guf, and that's the way it goes, eifin of chaim nitzchim, and from that it comes just like the gula rishena. The Eibishter took Yidden, that is Kimeit Seischam Yaretz Mitzrayim, Arenu Niflois, that we see the Gula Amitis Vashlema, we see this Galus of Mashiach, and he takes us out of Galus, Bepeil Mamish, and the Gashmias of the world. Bepeil Mamish into the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi, Kipshute Basi Legani Achesi Kala, and like the Lashon in the Medrash, Kvar Basi Legani Achesi Kala, Seshen Geven, it's already here in the world, and we see it Beini Basa. But one story, the Nacht, I heard there's a Fabrengen downstairs with some Mamshels and Mechaim. Not me, but Mamshels and my little mother. But I heard this one that David Raskin was Fabrengen. Says he was a bacher in Samarkand, I guess. And it was after the Frierdiker Rebbe left already Russia. Frierdiker Rebbe was already in New York. So it was after Tavshin Aleph. Frierdiker Rebbe was already in New York. Somehow, somebody was leaving Russia, so they sent with him a letter. He wasn't going to New York. He was going to Europe. They sent with him a letter to the Rebbe, and they gave him money. They should buy stamps. And they wrote the address, Lubavitcher Rebbe, New York, USA. That was all they knew. They didn't know anything. And they told him, when you come to France, wherever he was going, put it in the mailbox. They gave him money to buy stamps. Put it in the mailbox. Somehow it's angekumen. And the Maski wrote back a letter with an answer. How they got that, das weiß ich nicht, whatever. But in the bottom of the letter, he wrote Nun Beis. The Rebbe's address is 770 Eastern Parkway. Lahaba, in the future, you could write to there. He says, like they said, they sat the whole night verbrengt with 4 words, 770 Eastern Parkway. And you're talking about the Aveda with Mesiras Nefesh and all the Yanim that they needed, and that gave them Chayes. 4 words. The Rebbe had an address. They didn't know where 770 Eastern Parkway is. Like sometimes some Bachrim here also. No, whatever. But I'm saying they didn't know where it is. They didn't know what it looks like. They didn't have any idea like that. They didn't even believe or dream that they'd ever be zeichet to go there. But the fact that they knew the words 770 Eastern Parkway, that gave them chayes laveda. That's the nekuda. You guys ask, what does it mean? So I know the Rebbe is alive, but what difference? What does it mean, peil mamish? Yeah? So there's the guys that they take it into a thing, so now I'm going to go and I'm going to get $1, and now I'm going to go and get a lekach, and now I'm going to go and make a shvil, otherwise, what does it mean? The fact that I know the Rebbe is alive, that's it. That's the biggest thing. It doesn't matter. I don't understand it. It doesn't matter. But when I know the reality, my life is a different life. I have a life because my life is a life which has where 770 Eastern Parkway. I never saw it. I don't know how it looks. I don't know where it is. And Allah has kama v'kama when I could see it and I could walk into 770 Eastern Parkway. But I'm saying, I walk in 770 Eastern Parkway and you know the Bachram came from Montreal. When they went to Montreal, So officially they took the Rebbe as their mashpia. They came from Shanghai. They came to Montreal, and the Rebbe before the Nesius, it was kilu for them. That was like the Rebbe was. They used to ask the Rebbe questions. The Rebbe was very mekad of them. Most of them didn't have families. They were all Polish. Most of them were Pemisher, and the whole families were destroyed. And the Rebbe was very mekad of them, and pushed them to make the yeshiva, do all these things. So one time they came in from Montreal. There was supposed to be a Fabrengen, but a Frierdiker Rebbe. And they came in, and Bepale, Frierdiker Rebbe didn't come out. Now, it's the Gehesen Yemult, a trip from Montreal. Now it's like we see it easy. Then it was called a whole long trip from Montreal to come to New York. It's the Gehesen, a whole long trip to come by bus. So before they went back, they went to the Rebbe. They said, we came the whole trip, the whole thing, and we didn't even get to see the Rebbe. And the Rebbe said, I think this was the Lashon, was Shinkumen Zeit to learn from the event from 770. No? He says, Lashon. Nemen from the event from 770. He says, you're here in 770. I walk in 770 and want to know, I need to have like some inspiration, so I need to make something cool, and I don't know what. I can't just walk into 770. I walk into 770, now I need like, I don't know. I need something that's going to inspire me. It's going to make me, I don't know. No, I walk in 770. That's it. I walked in 770. That's the Rebbe. This is the Rebbe's Dal Damas. You know. I walk in 770, the Rebbe's Dal Damas. There's no, like, what do I need more than that? Okay. Well, we all want to see. Not a question. We all want to see. But the fact that I walk in there and I know as a da lebedike Rebbe, da lepter, and here he is, and I walk in here and I can sit down and write a letter to the Rebbe and go into Yechidus. There's a lash from the Rebbe, lekasher, the Yechida of Yidden, with Yechida haklalis, through Yechidus, and the Rebbe puts in Chatzoi Eagle, Efshar Gamal Yidei Michtav. Efshar Gamal Yidei Michtav. Yechidus could be also by sitting. I sit down, I write a letter to the Rebbe, I'm going into Yechidus. What's more than that? My Yechidus connecting with the Yechida, and I'm sitting in the holiest place in the world. This is Makom Mikdash Gufei the Lasid. That's not claim. It's even more than that. It's Kedesh HaKadoshim. It's Kedesh HaKadoshim, and it's Makom Ha'orin Einem Min Amida. Nimna Nimnois, that's 770. This is where there's Gilu Shechina, even b'meshech time of Galus, and Kshem Nigalin, then the Shechina comes with us. So what's merida in them? To walk in 770 without going to the mikveh first is like, it's not even like a thing which a person could even dream, such as in Chas v'Shalom. To walk in 770 not going to the mikveh, but so versteht sich, geht in mikveh, and I walk in 770, I know, ich bin da. This is, here there's a Rebbe, Lebedike Rebbe, was mehr darf ich? This is the greatest thing possible. Yeah, I want to see this galus. 100% I want to see this galus, and we're going to see this galus. But right now, at this second, the idea that I'm in a room where the door's going to open up, and the Siddur Reinu is walking in over here to his shul and his base medrash. That's where he's walking into. This is the place where he's walking into 770. He's going to walk into, and I know that the door is going to open up, and suddenly he walks to the Rebbe, and he's going to take a look. Was tut mit dir? Where how's the avodah and shalom farmers for saying that gives koyach and chayas for every second of our lives until we see take of miyad mamish this galus l'chaim. We should see this galus. Melech Moshiach take of miyad mamish be basi kvar. That's the lashon of the medrash, right? Kvar basi legani. So shen given basi legani achisi kala. We should see beini basar take of miyad mamish l'chaim. Good chedesh.
Both of these are gone. From both sides are gone.
That was my bed. See that you need like a microscope over here.
It's camouflage.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very good shape. Very well done. Oh, good. Does it does? That's the question. That's what I want to know. I was on Taylor, was on Troy Avenue. But every single break, we were in 770. It was a far walk. Now you cross the street, it's easier. They'll always be in 770 now. Remember, it was in Nun Dalit. So at one point in time, Nala made a gzeira that you can't go 770 for tefillas. And there was like all kinds of things and all kinds of whatever. The problem was there were two bachrim in yeshiva at that time who they never ever missed even one seder. And both of them, Machris given, I didn't come to seder for Bogarski. I'm gonna be by tefillas. You want to think, do what you want. In fact, there was two guys. One of them they were both Frenchies. One was Levi Azimov, and one was what's the last name? I don't remember the name. I don't know. I'm getting old, but it's funny. One of them, the difference between them was like this. What happened when Anala said, there's no Seder since tomorrow morning? So one of them said, okay, and I'll be gesagt. The other one said, who's Pekarski to tell me not to come to Chassidus? And he was there. But both of them were by tefillas in 770 every time. So they couldn't put the Gzeira. It wasn't shaykh because like your two biggest Kabbalah Selniks. Not like, oh, okay, these guys will punish you, but this is like the guys that are by oldest daughter. That's it, that's anyway, whatever. Good. Stam azay das sein das.
Even atom.
Ah.
I'm also going to even think about it. Even atom.
Now, Shachris used to always be in 7. That was the Seder. And after it, now they tried to change it a little bit. Chamayim, it was depends when everyone went to the oil. Mincha officially we daven in 770, 3:15, but if they went to the oil, then they had a mini yeshiva. And then Pesach, Bachram would wait for the Rebbe to come back from the oil, and then you can't leave in the middle of the Seder, but you have to leave in the middle of the Seder, because once the Rebbe came back from the oil, it's already after Shkin. If you're not going to daven with the Rebbe, you're not going to be able to daven Mincha. So it's like, Breda. I used to think. Another, nobody davened mincha, because everyone was waiting for the Rebbe to come back from the oil. So by the time we realized the Rebbe wasn't coming down mincha, it was already in the middle of the night. Not in the middle of the night, it was already late at night. We just can't daven mincha, so that was it. Went on to Ma'ariv. But that's it. That's the mitzvos.
How did the Bachman Military know that the Rebbe came back from the oil?
Huh?
How did the Bachman Military know that the Rebbe came back?
How? I don't know how. Gewusst. No, there wasn't beepers yet. There were beepers. Morristown, they had beepers. Beepers with numbers. But that wasn't, nobody in Crown Heights had beepers. Get me gewusst, I don't know. I think they called on the payphone, I don't know whatever happened. Like, because you knew already when the Rebbe was coming back. They used to announce. They used to announce like 20 minutes before that Rebbe's on the way back from the oil, everyone should stop smoking. Because they didn't want the smoke, wasn't there. So instead everyone stopped smoking. The Rebbe's coming on the way back from the oil. It's 70s, they announced. The Rebbe's on the way back from the oil. But Kiddush Levana, interesting thing. Was there Kiddush Levana other Nun Beis or not? We didn't make Kiddush Levana. Did Rebbe make Kiddush Levana? I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's mukhrach, it has to be like, I don't know, nowadays they would have made a whole pshatel about it. I remember it was the last night for Kiddush Levana, so Chaim Baruch brought out a stender and a microphone. He said, "Mistam, it'll be a sikh or something, because it was cloudy." He said, "For sure there's going to be something, because it wasn't shaykh like that. It never happened." I'm a pale, I don't know what happened. Either the Rebbe made Kiddush Levana in his room, could be, or the Rebbe made Kiddush Levana in whichever way the Rebbe makes Kiddush Levana. I know that we didn't make Kiddush Levana, that's all I know. The other issue. Last night it was cloudy every day. Anyway, it's a Gemara. The sky Morias von the Balaam. Dav Melech Yisrael Chai B'Kaim. What happened? What did the Gemara say? Dav Melech Yisrael Chai B'Kaim. What happened? Rabbi sent Reb Chia to go to see if there was a Zidul Levana. He didn't see the Levana. He said, Dav Melech Yisrael Chai B'Kaim. Don't worry, he said, Dav Levana. I don't see it. Dav Melech Yisrael Chai B'Kaim. That's the Gemara Rosh Hashanah. Rabbi sent Reb Chia to Tav, what's the Ein Tav. He sent him to go to Mikadosh Levana to make Shalach li Simna David Melech Yisrael Chai B'Kaim. Good. Chavra, Daf 11, that's the Nukodim, Daf 11. Daf 11 Baal Leben anderes, nicht genug 11. The simen of a Dover Chai is a Baal Leben andere also, it's a Chai Lachis. Tamanish is that Ali Nichish Kin Labediker. Someone who's alive, he makes other people alive also. That's the Nukodim. Daf Machem is 11. Look, I just heard a story. I was in New Haven, so Lustig told me. I never knew this. He says, the whole title button, he didn't want to make all the Torah because, understand, for Yisrael from Russia, Timchit Mimim was the holiest thing possible. The Rebbe was speaking sichas about Altaris HaKodesh, but he was always trying to get out of it. He went to the Rashag, he tried to make a merger on him. He was like, he couldn't make it's like, it was like, it didn't make sense. So he came into the Rebbe one of the times, he was telling the Rebbe about his the new idea of a merger he's going to make with Rashag, and the Rebbe said, "Was ar dir as ich soll haben meine eigene Yeshiva?" Was ar dir ich soll have my eigene Yeshiva? So this has to be the Rebbe's eigene Yeshiva. You said, I was a hell investor. Okay, whatever. Stuff Megala Zayn, David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Chaim. The sky Maria Salavan available. Here it has to be the Rebbe's eigene Yeshiva. That's the Nekudah. That's not good. Das. Das Leben andere. Chai Lachis. The Ikirism so since then this Galus Moshiach Miyam Mamish. That's what it's all about. It's a nice Zelle, man. Huh?
Didn't touch what's mean Leben.
Huh? What's mean Leben? Begashmis was mean Leben is a melept, and you see that someone's alive because I left. You see when someone's dead, you see when someone's alive. You can see Bechush. You know the Frierdiker Rebbe one time said, Ken zen seiner is a chas, it's nicht, ken zen af nos. He said, Rebbe is a freilicher nos, so meint is a chasid. Und Rebbe is nicht ken freilicher nos, weiß man schon, so wenn man hat a Scheich ist. Freilicher nos is a chasid, that's it. A freilicher nos, a chasid has like a lept, he's alive. It's not so kvetched. You could see Bechush. Someone who by him the Rebbe is alive, he's alive. Because he lives. Yeah, lebendige Mensch. He's going, he's on, and he has chai lachis, chai other people. Why? Because the Rebbe explained, what does it mean? Zare b'chaim, ma zare b'chaim, afu b'chaim. The Rebbe says, this should be the Bali Morish Cheda of a Steichen. That since zare b'chaim, umele das azevi hu b'chaim. He said, no, because hu b'chaim, that's why zare b'chaim. When you see that Zare B'chaim, weiß man, as it can sein that Zare should be B'chaim, if it wouldn't be that Hu B'chaim. Not that Zare B'chaim makes it as if he's Hu B'chaim. When you look at Zare and you see that Zare B'chaim, so weiß man, it's not possible that Zare will be Hu B'chaim unless he's B'chaim, he said, that's me. That's what it means, Hu B'chaim, the Bali Morish Cheda. There's Bali Morish Cheda, all the even Bali Morish Cheda. They like to kvetch these things. I don't know. They enjoy dafka as a zaynep. You know, like I never got. I don't understand. Maybe one day someone will explain it to me. I never understood. Like, what's the tainug and the geschmack dafka to look to say as a lept nicht? Like, what? Ich verstehe why I want to say as a lept. Why are you looking dafke to look in whichever possible ways are guys are left? Like, where's the geschmack in that? Like, why does it make you feel good? Because maybe it's Bali Morish Cheda and they have to look and say, wie viel zu kennen und sagen, dafke nicht. You know, where's the geschmack in that? I like, and some people, you know, you are picatus. Why? Like, what? Why does it give you a geschmack? Dafke to say a nicht. Why? What's the geschmack in that? Why is that like? What's the tainuk? Ich verstehe a tainuk as I leapt. 770. Leapt. Hu b'chaim. That's the. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, whatever. The nekudah ikris is mit af leben andere. And that's the way it has to work. Because I'll say one small thing and then I'll have to again. You know, you sit in all the Torah, Shiur Dalit or whatever it is. There's so many bachrim that are falling through the cracks. But ich bin a chassidische bacher, so really what's yeah. If I'm a chassidische bacher, that means I'm going to take care of the bachrim that are falling through the cracks. I mean, we're talking about, can I not how many bachrim that are in Shiur Dalit? Huh? 375. So I have to take care and make sure I was helping to do something, to give him something, to give him life. Not to say aniyas nafshi tzalti. If I'm alive, that means I'm gonna go and I'm gonna feel a semainer and ininis passion negia ben nefesh that avde chara v'sanar that nafshi kshura benafshi. Yeah, nafshi kshura benafshi means that Rebbe's negia every bacher. So I can't just say ich hab getan meins and I'm a chassidische bacher. And you know, what can I do about the other guys? If I'm here b'ashgacha pratis and I see that there's so many people here, was tut sich mit sie wo geht man, was tut man, and I don't know, they're working to go on a community shlichus, I don't know what it's like. But it's like it's like a. So what? So ani is nafshi itself because I know that I'm gonna go to YG or Prowa or Rishvas, whatever it is, and maybe it sounds good. But wasn't it the well, what am I doing with all the guys that are sitting around? Tafton, the Balem, Chayla Achis, the Balem Yan. Good. The Ikir is it should be with Atzlacha Rabba, and the main thing is we should see this Galus Mashiach Shenishcheda Shvat. We should see already this Galus Mashiach Kvar Basi Legan Yachisi Kala. We should see this Galus Mashiach take on Yad Mamish. The Rebbe is going to take us out of Galus. I'm telling you, it's going to be good then, and it already is good now. What do you mean it's good? It's good. It's not good. But just thinking about it makes it good. Just knowing as Efen Sachnatir makes it good now already. It's just a thing. You know, so come da rein, you see the ring. He's gonna walk into some 70. I think nobody argues with that the place is gonna walk into some 70. I don't think anybody imagines he's gonna walk in somewhere else. Walk into 70, he's gonna say, guys, what's even the Lashon? Yidden, geit der Reus von Galus. We're going. Good. Shkoyach, Tzloch Rabba, Baruch Achrena, we don't have to make a Baruch Achrena.